Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, final press conference and face-off video. Fight's gonna come up. Y'all watching it? I don't think I am, but I'll just watch after, like, the highlights and whatever, like whatever happened and that. You know, I don't think I'm not that crazy interested, but it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? To see Jake Paul fight this guy. I'm not a fan of Jake Paul or Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Joshua is a beast. You know, that I do respect and know. But yeah, let's get on with
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. I'm gonna jump over and beat me up. Friday. Ready your 50 cal.
I think he's inspired a lot of kids for grassroots boxing gyms that were struggling to pay bills are now full because of people like Jake Paul. Yeah. And for women's boxing, he's done amazing. It's women's rights to stand up and fight for equal right, and Jake's a pioneer of that. So he's done well on those two fronts.
Let's go. Whole card stacked next Friday. Let's fucking get it. Whole card, movies. Come on. Stop playing, people. Look at this. Great. Look at this. Come on.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. And I'm
I don't dislike Jake Paul. I'm just a competitor, and we could talk about the fight, what he learned, what I learned. And as I said, and I stand on it, I think there's room for us to do some good business because we're crossing over from USA to the UK. We're here to take over, not take part. And I have to go in there, stomp all over him, inflict pain, and land that right hand that he says is my only weapon. I know the energy in that building when you've got 15,000 people calling out for entertainment, calling out for power punches. I know I'm gonna deliver, I know Jake's gonna deliver. So the people in the venue are gonna be in for a good treat and they're gonna go home and say, what an event that was.
We can bring the vote in, fellas.
Huh? You had taller shoes on it the last time. You're shorter today. You're shorter today, bro. He's strong, bro. He's strong.
Mommy, he's drinking me.
Good. Thank you, appreciate it.
Anthony Joshua exploded on Jake Paul at the recent Miami press conference, stripping away the showmanship and framing their December bout as a serious professional test.
You know how the game goes?
Yeah, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna break his face, I'm gonna break his body up, I'm gonna stomp all over him. That's my mentality, right? That's a fighter's mentality, and I know what's in my heart, I know what's in my mind, and I'm here to compete. I'm here to prove myself that I'm the better fighter, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'll do that until I finish fighting, no matter who it is.
Who are those opponents lined up for you in 2026?
My focus is on Jake Paul.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Is that true though? Do you have those two fights lined up already?
They're not signed, they're not sealed, but they're opportunities really. They're just opportunities in the game. But my main focus as signed and sealed is Jake Paul, so that's all I've got in front of me.
Do you agree with the assessment that if this fight goes longer than the Ngannou fight, it's kind of a...
No, Jake's a completely different fighter to Ngannou. Ngannou and Jake are completely different animals, so I can't compare the two together. Ngannou never boxed before either. Jake's boxed before. And they're just different. Ngannou's a lot more slower, but a lot bigger and more powerful. Jake's quicker. Jake boxes in a completely different style. Ngannou's more upright. He can does switches southpaw and orthodox. Jake doesn't really do that. They're completely different fighters, if I'm honest with you. So I'm not trying to compare. At the end of the day, it's just what happens at the end of the night. I'm not in there to try and knock Jake out in 10 seconds or 8 rounds. I'm going to go in there and do a job. I'm going to want to hurt him.
Got in a car accident? Don't call the lawyer. Use this free AI tool instead.
He acknowledged Paul's audacity, but made it clear he's preparing for him like any world-level contender. Disciplined camp, sharp fundamentals, and a plan to apply pressure and cut him up and break him.
I'm going in there. I can fight free. If he starts getting touched up and losing rounds, I think the cookie will crumble.
Do you agree?
Whatever he said. We'll see if the cookie crumbles. I don't know what to say. I'm confident in myself. like, I'm not focusing on him. I just know what I can do, and I can't wait to show it. I'm not going to crumble. I'm solid. I've been through wars.
Tension spiked when Paul leaned into his delusional optimism, promising to shock the world, while Joshua, focused and unmoved, said he's betting fully on himself and even offered to put his chain on the line.
I like to challenge myself. I like to take on the biggest, the best. I said anyone, anytime, any place. I truly mean that. And I'm here to go out there and shock the world. I know what I'm capable of. I see him and what he's capable of. And we're going to go to war, and we'll see the best man that will win. But people say, oh, he's out of his mind, all of these things. I've gotten to where I'm at today because of delusional optimism. And so it's delusion until it's not, because look at where we're sitting today. No one ever thought that this would be possible, that we would be here when I first started boxing. And no one thinks I'm going to win. So join the list and be ready to be shocked.
Joshua stressed the real tactical stakes, from heavyweight power to the need for total concentration, and positioned the fight as the collision of marketability with elite ability. Ultimately, his remarks mixed respect for Paul's boldness with a clear warning: if Paul can't handle sustained pressure, the consequences will be physical, reputational, and felt across the sport. And as the intensity of that Miami press conference settles, the conversation shifts naturally to Deontay Wilder, who adds an even more sobering layer of caution to the discussion. Wilder suggested the matchup almost feels scripted at times, simply because the weight gap and competitive disparity are so unusual, with Paul entering around 215 pounds against an active former world champion near 250. Yet he stressed that, scripted or not, the danger is identical the moment a fighter steps through the ropes, because boxing is inherently hazardous.
And I don't know but one person would do what Jake is doing. And that's it. And I'm talking about the weight difference. For him being, like I said, 215 and Joshua being 250, I don't know that there was differences. I don't know no other person that have done that but me, that a fight that. I fight guys 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds heavier than me. You know what I mean?
But if it's not scripted, then do you think it's dangerous?
It's dangerous no matter what.
Drawing from his own routine of MRIs and scans before every fight, Wilder explained that long-term damage often develops quietly, long after the adrenaline fades, and that the head is not built to take repeated impact. His remarks ultimately framed the Paul Joshua event not as entertainment, but as a contest carrying real consequences for safety and competitive integrity, reinforcing the sport's responsibility when approving such unconventional matchups.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And the one thing for sure my doctors have always told me, it's like the head, they say, Deontay, understand this. The head is not meant to be hit, you know? Because I always get, CAT scans and make sure the brain and stuff right and making my body right. And I always try to convince other fighters and stuff, go get MRIs, go get CAT scans, and go get all that, because your outside body may feel good. You may, I'm good. Especially after a fight, the adrenaline rush is still on. You don't feel nothing right now. But after this over with, maybe a week, a month, 11, you probably are developing something that can end your career. You just can't see it right now. You can't see it. You maybe can't feel it, but it's developing. And that's why I say, because the doctors always told me, and I learned from the doctors, they say, Deontay, understand, the head is not meant to be hit. Your brain is not meant to be shooken.
And as Wilder's cautionary tone settles in, the conversation flows naturally back toward Amir Khan's assessment, which echoes similar concerns but adds a blunt warning about the stakes. Khan noted that the fight's sudden arrival feels surreal, yet he maintained that Joshua winning by a brutal knockout is the most realistic outcome. He argued that Nakisa Badarian is taking an unnecessary risk by placing Paul in a matchup where the physical danger far outweighs the reward, stressing that while the financial upside is clear, Paul still has a life beyond boxing that must be protected.
Well, it happened so quick. It's come so quick, the fight has. But AJ, by knockout, brutal knockout, Nakisa is making a big mistake putting Jake Paul in a fight like this, because he's gonna want to see him get hurt. I mean, these guys are going for the money, where really, he has a life after boxing as well. Let's hope he comes out the ring in one piece.
Khan explained that Joshua's motivation is straightforward, an enormous payday for a matchup that favors him on paper, while Paul appears to be chasing influence, visibility, and the challenge of tapping into the traditional boxing audience. Still, Khan cautioned that although anything can happen in boxing and a single punch can change a fight, he does not believe Paul possesses the kind of power or technical threat needed to alter a bout against a heavyweight of Joshua's caliber. In his view, the matchup underscores both the commercial appeal of crossover events and the ongoing conversation about safety, competitive balance, and how far the sport should stretch to accommodate spectacle.
If I was AJ, I'd do the same thing, because at the end of the day, you're fighting a YouTuber, and why not? I mean, getting paid millions and millions of pounds. And why is Jake doing? Jake's just doing it for probably the fan following. Maybe he wants to get the boxing audience. But look, who knows? I mean, anything can happen in boxing. One punch can change the fight, but I just don't think he has that one punch to change the fight. It does Jake Paul.
Following Amir Khan's warning about the risks Jake Paul is walking into, the discussion shifts smoothly into Eddie Hearn's assessment, which reinforces the same core message, but through the lens of someone directly responsible for guiding Anthony Joshua's career. Hearn clarified that while Matchroom is not promoting the Miami event, he will be fully present in AJ's corner, treating the week with the same seriousness applied to any world-level fight. He stressed that despite public perception, the team is not approaching Jake Paul as a novelty opponent. They are preparing with the same urgency, discipline, and tactical focus they would bring against a top heavyweight. Hearn acknowledged that Paul has pride, has built real ability, and has sparred large, high-level fighters, but insisted that such preparation cannot replicate the levels, power, and danger Joshua brings. In his view, Paul's only favorable outcome is avoiding a clean shot, because once Joshua lands with full force, the result will be a definitive and potentially harsh knockout. He added that even a brief lapse in awareness could completely flip the night for Paul, given how quickly a heavyweight can end a contest. Hearn made it clear that every member of AJ's team expects a ruthless performance rather than a cautious or sentimental one.
We had a deal with DAZN to allow AJ to take this fight. I'll be there promoting AJ. I won't be pushing and promoting the show like normal, but you'll see me. You'll see me all week, and I'll be around AJ like I am every fight week. And we're taking this very seriously. It's not like we're not going into this week in Miami as a laugh. We're not saying, oh, it's Jake Paul, or this is going to be like, we're expecting a test, and we're expecting and preparing like we would if we were fighting a world-class heavyweight. I don't think you would expect anything less from AJ. He's not mucking around, he's not laughing and joking. You know, he's relaxed, but he knows he's fighting next week on a massive stage in a fight that's very important for his career.
Hearn also addressed broader concerns about health, reputation, and the backlash the sport may face if the fight ends violently, noting that while Paul is better prepared than the average novice, he is still not equipped for the artillery a prime heavyweight delivers. He argued that Joshua's legacy is not at risk, framing the matchup as an 8-round tune-up that happens to come with extraordinary financial incentive and global visibility. For Joshua, Hearn stated the mindset is strictly business. Arrive in Miami, impose dominance with sharp, fast, heavy offense, exit with momentum restored, and refocus on world title ambitions in 2026. He also emphasized that every major fighter alive would have accepted this matchup without hesitation, given the scale and reward involved. Ultimately, Hearn portrayed the week as one of controlled intensity, no jokes, no shortcuts, just a calculated mission to dismantle Paul and move on.
You know, and he can go over and, you know, he can't get up and the ref stop. That will be a massive result. You know, the biggest result for Jake Paul right now is that he gets away with it by not getting hit too flush, because the artillery will be heavy. The artillery won't be, and I've lost count of how many times I've said this. Do not worry about anybody holding back. Do not worry about us going, oh, it's Jake Paul, let's not take it to... No. We're going in there, locked and loaded with the heaviest fucking artillery in the heavyweight division that will be unleashed on Jake Paul in Miami.
Looking across everything we've heard, from Joshua's cold, uncompromising intent in Miami, to Wilder's blunt safety warnings, to Khan's realism and Hearn's behind-the-scenes honesty, the full picture of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua becomes impossible to ignore. This is a crossover spectacle wrapped around a very real, very dangerous heavyweight fight. Joshua is treating it like a professional assignment, not a novelty, and every veteran voice around the sport is essentially saying the same thing in different tones. The size, experience, and power gap are not narrative devices. They're the reality Jake has to survive. Even with Paul's confidence, marketability, and willingness to take risks, he is stepping into a division where one mistake can end a night, a career, or worse. And that's why the conversation keeps circling back to safety, legitimacy, and the responsibilities of everyone involved. From my viewpoint, the matchup feels less like a competitive crossroads and more like a collision between ambition and heavyweight physics. My prediction, Joshua by early knockout, not out of malice, but because history, skill, and sheer punching force all point in the same direction, and the only real suspense is how long Jake can stay out of the way before one clean shot decides everything.
Okay, so, and it will be unleashed sharp, fast, and hard on his chin. So the best case scenario for him is that he gets, it don't land too clean, because when it lands clean, he ain't getting up, and the fight's over, and he's getting knocked out bad. And there'll be a lot of people that will enjoy watching it. I'm giving him the respect to say, listen, you've got big balls, but he needs to get very lucky next weekend. Not lucky to win, not lucky to survive on points, lucky that the knockout is not too clean.
In the end, everything surrounding this matchup leads to one unmistakable conclusion. Jake Paul may have talked his way into the biggest moment of his boxing life, but Anthony Joshua is treating it like a live fire assignment with zero margin for error. Drop your thoughts in the comments section. Is Jake Paul daring or delusional? Is Joshua taking a risk, or is this the easiest money of his career? Let the debate begin. And don't ever forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing Headquarters.
Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, who you think's winning. I call it already, it's AJ. Anthony Joshua's winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no doubt. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. All that.